I watched a documentary, Israelism. So much I want to talk about. If you have not watched that documentary, I encourage you. Spend the money, rent it, watch it. I'm probably going to say some things that some of you are not going to like, and I want to be crystal clear when I tell you this. I do not give a damn. I used to be really embarrassed to admit this, but prior to October 7th, I knew nothing about what was going on. Like most Americans, when things are out of sight, they're out of mind. I remember being in high school on September 11th watching live the Twin Towers being attacked and never really questioning why they did that. But all I had ever heard about people in the Middle East is that they hate us because of our freedom, because of our religion, and that they're all terrorists, and that's why they attacked us. Because of that lie and all of the propaganda that we are fed, anytime that I would see a person wearing a turban, I had instant fear. Instantly thought they are a terrorist. And that is because that is what we are taught. And it's the same thing in the documentary Israelism. Those children are completely brainwashed. One of the Jewish girls in the documentary, her parents had saved all of her classwork from when she was a child. You can see from that age, they are fed lies. Like this right here. This is from when she was a child, and they told them that all of it is Israel. When some of them would be curious and ask, so nobody lived here prior to us? Their response that they would get is that there were some people that lived there, but they never really built anything for themselves. During the summertime, they would have what we call summer school or summer camp. They would quite literally train these children how to be in the army. When they turned 18, they had this mindset like, yes, we are going to go fight for our people and fight for our land. When some of them got to where they were going, they saw things that they were never taught about. They were appalled and they felt extremely deceived because all they had to do was look around and they saw what the hell was going on. When I was watching that documentary and they were interviewing these Zionists, they all had the same talking points. Same ones that we hear now, all of the time. Like I said earlier, October 7th, I had no idea what was going on. But unlike young Michelle, the first thing that I asked myself was, why would they do that? And that's when I started doing research and I couldn't believe what the fuck I was reading. Initially, when reading those things, that is a hard pill to swallow. Again, we are not taught any of those things. It was a very scary thing to talk about, especially on a larger platform, because I was very unbiased going into this. Again, I didn't know what was happening. But from what I had been learning, it seemed pretty clear who was in the right and who was in the wrong. 75 years prior to October 7th. There's another big problem is that people think that all of this just started October 7th, and that is not the case. So I started to talk about it a little bit on my platform and where my stance was so far. My inbox, full of Zionists. Oh, it's very complicated. You're just uneducated. You're being anti-Semitic. Every message was saying that I was just missing this big piece to the puzzle. And again, I wanted to truly understand what was going on. I messaged one of the people back asking to talk and let me know, educate me. What puzzle piece am I missing? I was on FaceTime for 3 hours with a woman, a Zionist, who lives in Israel. All she kept bringing up was October 7th and hostages. And I said, yes, I think that is horrible. Like, I don't agree with innocent lives being lost. And then I said to her, well, what about the Nakba? Because that is something that I had just learned about. Her response to me was, that's in the past. We can't worry about things that's in the past. We can't change that. She was insisting that I hated Jewish people. And I told her, I said, Miss, I have only ever sympathized with Jewish people based off of what their family members had gone through. I said to her, but there is a difference between Judaism and being a Zionist. She told me I was anti-Semitic for that. And I said, well, actually, a Jewish friend of mine was the one who told me that. And her response to me was, well, they have internalized anti-Semitism. Nothing I said was correct unless I agreed with her. And now, 8 months into this, it's still the same shit. There is no missing puzzle piece. We are seeing it for what it is. You know, the Israeli government and Zionists tell us a lot of things. The Palestinians, they show us. Right here, through our phones. This right here is something that has never happened before. We are watching these things happen in real time. And even though we are all seeing these things happening with our own eyes, our government still continues to lie to us. Now in America alone, you have millions of people that are like, wait a minute, what? Because here in America, we are spoon-fed one-sided propaganda bullshit. Now that we are actually seeing these things happening, what are they doing? They're not allowing journalists to be on the front lines. We want to try to ban the social media apps that we get so much information from. Seeing is believing, and just like those people in the documentary, they had no idea until they saw what was happening with their own eyes, and they wanted nothing to do with it. Like I said earlier, these Zionists have the same talking points. None of it ever changes with any of them. Unless you agree with them and stand with Israel, you are a terrorist sympathizer, you support Hamas, you're anti-Semitic, and you hate Jewish people. And here in America, there are so many brainwashed people. And I do my best to give them grace because, again, what they are saying is what we are taught. They don't know any better. But just like Zionists, they all have the same talking points. The fact that I'm a woman and that I'm gay, automatically, first thing they said, do you know what they would do to you over there? They would throw you off a building. They would be in complete control of you. They want to acknowledge that, but they don't want to acknowledge any of the hate crimes that happen here in America. Horrible things that have been done to people within the gay community here in America all of a sudden just fucking vanishes. They don't want to acknowledge any of that, because look what the terrorists will do to you. Completely oblivious to the fact that we have domestic terrorism here. Oh, why don't you go over there and see what kind of rights you have as a woman? As our government here in the United States is actively taking away women's rights to have control over their own bodies. That's fine. We're not going to talk and acknowledge that one because, over there, terrorists. I understand 100% that it is a hard pill to swallow to think that your government and everything that you know about your country is a fucking lie. Trust me, learning these things, learning the facts, it hurts. We are seeing this happen with our own eyes. How do some of you still not believe it? Zionism is a cult. Textbook definition. And saying that does not make me anti-Semitic. I keep being told the hostages. Yes, the IOF has now rescued 7 of those hostages. Would you like to know how many of those hostages they have killed due to their carpet bombing? Did you know that Hamas has released 150 of those hostages? Of course not, because mainstream media does not tell you those things, and some of you just refuse to watch anything that's actually factual, because those things are just too hard to watch. You're right. It is very uncomfortable, but guess what? We do not deserve to be comfortable. Educate yourselves on what is happening now and what has been happening for almost 80 years. People in the Middle East are not all terrorists. That is the first thing that you need to unlearn. They are human beings just like you and me. And if what is happening to them was happening to you, you would want the world to fight for you too.